All right, Matt, whenever you'd like to get started.
Great. Thanks, David. David Van Sicklen, AMCC's Operations Director, and I am Matt Bogosian, AMCC's Executive Director, here to say good morning. And this is AMCC's national 30-minute call, same time every Monday, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, 8:30 Pacific. It is July 7th. Hope everyone had an enjoyable holiday weekend. And I hope those suffering from weather events are doing okay too. Of course, condolences to our friends in Texas who are suffering from those flash floods, like horrible news out there, loss of lives. Hopefully, more lives can be saved. And Wishing all the best there for recovery efforts. For those of you that are new, or as a reminder, for those that have been with us for a long, long time, please get the word out about this call and also the second activity that happens every week, which is the AMCC update newsletter that goes out usually every Friday. Because those are opportunities to learn, of course, but they're also tools to help you leverage AMCC and all of its stakeholders across the country to get your manufacturing ecosystem of support more coordinated, using the best using the best evidence available to get manufacturing stakeholders to row better together. So we've got a lot of hard work to do. We need to make smarter products that solve problems and improve the human condition. And here's one example of that this week for the manufacturing ecosystem of support. I'll be going out to the National Association of County Governments conference in Philadelphia. So I'm thinking about, that group of manufacturing ecosystem stakeholders. Are they everything? No, but they're important stakeholders in every region around the country. They play an important role in helping to row together in regions to create across the big six elements of a thriving manufacturing ecosystem. County government stakeholders need to be plugged in. So use AMCC update, for example. Like you could just forward that to stakeholders that you're trying to get rowing in the same direction from the county government perch. You could apply that across the board. We have these presentations like we have today, super excited about that. But like last week, we had Reimagine Appalachia, sharing their recently released story map, looking at existing manufacturing strengths in Appalachia. Wow, that's like super useful tool. County government officials, I know for a fact that most county government officials aren't dialed in to what the big six elements of a thriving manufacturing ecosystem are, right? So this AMCC update that comes out every week that is informed so much by you guys is a good tool, but we're asking you to think about how you leverage that tool to bring in more stakeholders into the ecosystem of support, so folks are rowing faster and better in the same direction. So it's great to have you on this call, and so folks that may not know, we have sometimes this Monday call for 30 minutes. It's just a roundtable call where we take time to hear in more detail from individual stakeholders. Very informal, and as is the other flavor of call, which is our presentation calls like today, where we have a stakeholder talk to us about, hey, let's share our part of the ecosystem with the national community of practice, so that we can move farther. So today is a presentation day like we had last week. We're excited. We have the American Society of Mechanical Engineers here to talk about their apprenticeship program. So that's going to be cool. But up front, I want a quick announcement there by Nadia Larasati and Brian Becker from ICIC to talk a bit about their education program for manufacturing business owners. So Nadia and Brian, let me turn to you for just a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt and David, for inviting us on this call. It's great to meet you all. I'm Nadia Larasati. I'm with ICIC. We're a national nonprofit organization. And our organization just launched a new executive education program designed specifically for manufacturing businesses. And I'm going to actually hand it over to Brian to talk a little bit more about the program and the criteria and our application process.
Thanks, Nadia, and thanks again, Matt and Steve. I'll be very brief because I know you have another presenter today. So we are targeting small to medium manufacturers, very kind of loose guidelines would be 20 plus FTEs and $1 million plus in revenue. And it is a 12-week executive education course. We will be pulling in professors and practitioners to establish best practices. I know that it appeared in the newsletter last week, so there are some links for you there. And also, we will be returning on Monday to present for the kind of the final stretch for our application process. So it only takes less than 15 minutes for people to apply. For leaders like yourselves in the manufacturing ecosystem in your communities, we would love for you to help share the word about the program. It's kicking off officially the first week of August. And like I said, there are some links in last week's newsletter that went out, and we will be available for more questions and answers and a more holistic overview on Monday. But just a quick plug, the deadline for applications is really the 18th of July. We will accept probably some trickles after that, but it is acceptance based on a rolling basis. So we want to encourage people to apply sooner rather than later because we do have an interview component and a brief written application as a part of it. We want to make sure we get all of our little ducks in a row before we kick off the first Wednesday in August. So thanks again for the time. And like I said, more to come next week. And the links are included in last week's newsletter. Thanks.
Awesome, Brian and Nadia. Thank you both. And I see so many are doing it. Use the chat, right? This is a great time. You can continue the conversation directly or as a group, whatever you want on the chat. A super useful tool. Love it. Gretchen Moore from Women in Manufacturing, dropping some cool things in the chat, and so many others. So please use that chat as much as you can on these calls. Where you guys are the doers out there, right? You're busy. We need to make the most of this 30 minutes like we do every week. So thanks for that. And let's see, so much is in the AMCC update every week. There's no way we can go through all of those items every week. But I do want to, call out, the one around the national strategy, that the advanced manufacturing strategy. So there's a national advanced manufacturing strategy that we have had since 2022. NIST just released a request. Don Ufford from NIST was on, I think it was last Monday, talking about it. And David can drop the link in the chat to the submission process. AMCC is going to come up, thanks to our engagement with you all and many others. We're going to be working on submitting what we think ought to be in the next National Advanced Manufacturing Strategy. But it's not just AMC, it's everyone. This is open to everyone, and as much bottom-up stakeholder input into that thing, it would be the best case scenario. So yeah, before we turn to our friends at ASME, we want to do, as we do every week, a couple of folks just if you're new or haven't raised your hand, to just tell us where you are in the ecosystem of support. We want to have a couple of examples every week just to demonstrate and bring people in. This is a relationship building activity. We can't get to a common narrative unless we have relationships with one another. So if you haven't raised your hand to introduce yourself and say where you are in the ecosystem of support, somewhere in some region across the country or in some public, private, nonprofit key stakeholder group, this is a good time to do that. Let's see, and folks, I call on people too. So it's the Socratic method in some ways. I see Stephen Bader from the East Bay of San Francisco, California. Stephen, come on in, tell folks who you are, where you are in the ecosystem of support and that, yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate the chance to to say a few words, and good morning, everyone. Yes, Stephen Bader, Executive Director of the East Bay Economic Development Alliance. In our case, East Bay, meaning the eastern side of the San Francisco Bay and the San Francisco Bay Area. We've got a lot of different, we're very blessed in our region to have a lot of different manufacturing subsectors that all, that really create a great diversity of companies and opportunities in our region. Obviously, folks are very well aware that the Tesla automotive plant has really grown a lot and is now North America's largest automotive manufacturing plant. But we have large clusters of biotech, medical devices, food and beverage, and lots of other kinds of companies that together really help comprise a great system. We have great support organizations in terms of education, business incubators, and other groups, and really are trying to lean into the opportunities that really the innovation economy here is helping to drive forward in many ways. So this network's been really invaluable to us. Matt and his team have been very connected to a lot of the work we've been doing and helped support a summit we put together last year. And we continue to do a lot of work as we look ahead to the future.
Thanks, Stephen. How about one more? Let's see, Debbie Franklin from the great state of Kansas. Debbie.
Good morning, Matt. Nice to see you and all our other manufacturing friends here online. I'm Debbie Franklin from Wichita State University in the center of Kansas. And our economy has lots of aviation and other advanced manufacturing producers here doing harvesters, skid steers, as well as HVACs coming from the middle of the country. We've been a member for years and years with Matt dating way back into the IMCP days, and glad to see this expanding and each of you on the line today. We do have one of the Build Back Better awards called Driving Adoption, Smart Manufacturing Technologies, and are doing work to increase the productive velocity of the advanced manufacturing sector. Always a pleasure to be with AMCC.
Thanks, Debbie. Debbie also serves on our advisory board, so great leadership coming out of Kansas and Debbie Franklin there. So now let's turn to our new friends at ASME, and thanks to shout out to David Van Sicklen for making this original connection to the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. We've talked about different professions, how we need to bring more of the professional activities from different professions. My background's law. I've done that in the law world. We need to do it in every different profession. And so we are lucky enough to have Kathleen Kosmosky and Audrey Jane Morgan here to talk about their apprenticeship program. So Kathleen?
Hi, Matt. Thanks so much, David. Thanks so much for having us. We're very excited to be here today to share with you one of the programs that we've started. Before we dive into that, what I want to do is just a quick background about ASME, because some people may not have heard of us. Next slide, Audrey Jane, please. And so just a quick background. We are, even though our name is American, we are a global professional society. We were established in 1880 when a group of manufacturers came together to address safety around boilers and pressure vessels. And so we were started in 1880 and been around for just a little while. We do have over 78,000 members across the globe, and we are active in 140 countries. And then we just offer a bunch of different trainings through what we call learning and development courses, conferences, and technical courses. Next slide, please. So a lot of people wonder, well, why ASME? Well, we're really a neutral convener. So we operate literally at the intersection of academia, industry, and government, trying to focus on the multidisciplinary approach of engineering. Because as technologies are emerging and changing, engineers need to know a little bit about everything, as I like to say. So we work to bring all the entities together to determine how we can address the needs of the profession. Next slide. And we'll be happy to share these slides. So What we've come across over the past couple of years as I continue to work within the workforce development arena around engineering is that, and this is no shock to anybody, that you as employers need a highly skilled technical workforce. And so a lot of times you're turning to four-year degree students to fill those needs. But students coming out of a community college or associate's degree have a good skill set coming out. However, they just lack a little bit of knowledge and practical application to fill those entry-level needs. And when we start looking at community colleges, most of those students have the intention to transfer. They just need a little help getting there. So when we started looking at the data, only 30 to 35% of community college students are literally transferring the next semester to a four-year institution to complete that four-year degree. And when they're going through their transfer program, the courses are focusing on their core requirements. You know, their English, their physics, their calculus. And so they have a little bit of knowledge in engineering, but not enough, again, to fill those entry-level roles. So we're losing them to other professions, and we need to keep them in engineering. So we thought, what's the best way to do that? And we came across the registered apprenticeship programs. So next slide, Audrey Jane. So within a registered apprenticeship program, what we're able to do is develop a post-graduation training program to focus on those knowledge and skill sets that's needed to fill that skills gap, as well as practical application. For those of you who are not familiar with the apprenticeship program, it is a work-based training model, and it's a proven strategy combining formal education with on-the-job training to develop that skilled, reliable workforce that's meeting your needs, so that the training is developed to meet your needs. And then when the students graduate, they graduate as a highly skilled mechanical engineering technician, and now they have a pathway to completing their four-year degree. Next slide. So again, why apprenticeships? It's developed and vetted with our company partners. So we gathered 7 to 8 of our company partners to help create the curriculum to develop this highly skilled workforce. It does help develop a reliable pipeline of talent that's been vetted, and it stresses skills that are relevant and transferable. So the curriculum, which Audrey Jane will go over with you in a few minutes, they're getting a little bit of information on a lot of different topics, so that when they're placed in a manufacturing facility or an engineering firm, they can pivot easily to fill the roles that's needed within those organizations. And apprentices end up earning a higher wage that results in better job security, and it helps advance in a career, leading to a stronger labor market. Next slide. So for the value propositions of why manufacturers need to really start looking to apprenticeships to fill the engineering pipeline, not just the technical skills trade pipeline. It is a proven strategy for recruitment, development, and retainment of a skilled workforce. Data has shown that 91 to 94% of apprentices stay with the company once they complete their apprenticeship program. Currently, right now, our program is funded by a grant from the Department of Labor. So the only expense that the employer has is the apprentice's wage, which if you have an open position, you're paying that wage anyway. So why not bring on an apprentice that you can cultivate into your own culture and develop the skills for your local workforce? Companies can receive up to $2,000 from ASME for some of the responsibilities around the journey worker or mentor that's partnered with the apprentice, as well as for starting your own program. And then, of course, there's the potential to offset on-the-job training costs through tax credit incentives and federal and state workforce funding. Next slide. I think I've got one. Nope. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Audrey Jane to talk specifically about our program.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. So we're really excited that we kicked off our MET apprenticeship program on June 16th. So to tell you a little bit more about what that RTI related technical instruction looks like, each student will not only get 30 hours a week of classroom hours, but they also get 30 hours a week. So I'll reverse that, 10 hours a week of classroom hours and 30 hours a week of on-the-job training. So in total, once they complete their RTI training and on-the-job training, they'll have completion of 144 hours of training that we worked with Stevens Institute of Technology. So this is a great program for people who are looking to fill their workforce and give MET students the opportunity into the entry-level positions that they have within their company. So let's talk a little bit more about the curriculum. Our curriculum is definitely have a snapshot of everything that an MET mechanical engineering technician would need to be able to be successful on the job. So that includes students will be walking away with their OSHA 10 certification, go over CAD and design. They'll also be getting GD&T. So that's also important for them to be able to have. All these courses are going to be recognized by ABET, so they'll have additional credit to be able to work towards completion of finishing out their bachelor's degree. Most of these apprentices are going to have at least a minimum their associate's degree already, so they're continuing to work towards their bachelor's degree, and that's still a top priority for them. So skills and competencies. On this slide is a snapshot and a few takeaways that goes even more in depth about what the program, the related RTI instruction will go over. So the ability to assemble and disassemble equipment, document technical writings and things that they have to do and designs, also going to be important. Testing different products for functionality. What's also amazing about this program is also going to be utilizing that VR technology. So students are also going to be able to work in the workplace, not only in person when they do the on-the-job training, but also get that reinforcement in the virtual world. And that just limits not only limits their ability to, like, let's say, make sure for the employer different equipment is not overused. It allows them to be able to expand that in the virtual setting and leverage that in additional training to when they start their on-the-job training. So let's go over the employer requirements. It's simple to join. It's really easy to partner with us and to hire an apprentice. Some of the things that the employers are going to get is that they're going to need to be able to provide that wage. We fully cover the RTI related instructional training along with the equipment that all students get while they're doing the training. Allow the students to be able to go to the RTI training. Typically, they're going to be on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Assign each apprentice with a mentor, aka a journey person. So they're really getting that on-the-job training. We also provide support for that mentor during a specific orientation training. We also want to be able to work with the apprentice to provide not only progress reports with us, but also a wage, and that wage increase as well that we'll outline with you and work towards with you to make sure you're able to meet that. Conduct regular apprentice evaluations and provide construction feedback. So as the workforce team, and specifically me, I'm here to work with each employer, each mentor, to make sure we're really working towards the goal to make sure the apprentice starts successful and ends successful with the program and any additional support you may need. So some of you may be thinking, why should I hire an apprentice? We all know that there's a shortage in the manufacturing realm, and this is the solution for that. This allows you to not only invest in your company, lower recruitment costs, increase employee attention because the students that we have vetted already want the opportunity and working towards the engineering degree and are ready to commit. Be able to not only transfer as your current workforce retires, be able to transfer that knowledge to the new and next generation of apprentices that are ready and waiting to learn and expand in their career. You have access by joining us to an untapped and trained talent pool, better matching of employers because we've done half of the work for you by being able to vet the apprentices, meet their requirements, and basically their job readiness. We created reliable technical instruction for you. We've covered that RTI expense, so you don't have to worry about that, as well as you're potentially building out the future for economic development with your community as well. So let's
As
talk
we're
about the
going, can you
last.
guys make sure you drop your emails in the chat so people can grab them, because we just have a couple of minutes left.
Not a problem,
I want
David.
to make sure that people have time to see those and then can follow up with you, because we need to, you know, we have 244,000 manufacturers across the country. They're really busy, and you know, we need to, you know, get everyone rowing together in apprenticeship programs. Trust is the coin of the realm, and so we have a lot of other stakeholders here that do apprenticeship programs, and so I really want them to be connected to yours so that, you know, we take advantage of the limited attention of the employers, so they can see the range of apprenticeship programs. So Audrey, Jane, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make sure we get those connections out there. Please finish up. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I'll turn it back over to Kathleen to just close us out with the acts, as well as I'll stop sharing the screen and make sure we drop our contact information into the chat. So we're willing to connect and can meet with you as soon as possible. So thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Kathleen.
Yeah, so what we're looking for is we have a cohort that's currently underway, and we still have some apprentices we're looking to place. So if you're interested, please reach out to Audrey, Jane, or myself on that. And if you want more information, I'm going to drop a link in. The folks at the National Institute for Industry and Career Advancement, NICA, is hosting a virtual accelerator on apprenticeships. And so that's coming up July 16th. And so I'll drop that link in the chat for you, for anybody that's interested to join.
Kathleen, yeah. Audrey, Jane, thank you so much for that presentation. Super, super useful. And grab it, connect to these folks. You know, back to my earlier point, right? We need to, you know, getting the trust of the manufacturers to get the technical assistance and opportunities is a big trick, right? And so let's all work together, row in the same direction. We appreciate your time. And all the input that you get back at us, not on these calls, but for by email for the AMCC update and on the roadshow events around the country. Thanks so much, folks. Have a great week, and do your best. Thanks.
Take care, guys.